TTN-HD Production Live, here with Oscar-nominated writer-director Marshall Curry, whose film If a Tree Falls, a story of an Earth Liberation Front, is nominated for an Academy Award. How does it feel?
Great. It's really exciting. I just got in from New York yesterday, so I'm looking forward to it.
Your first film was also nominated for an Oscar. What is it like the second time around?
It's still pretty great. I mean, it's definitely not something you get used to. You know, I got the call. I was dropping off my kids at school, and my phone started buzzing, and I looked, and so it's exciting. I mean, the best thing for documentaries, particularly, is it's so hard to get people to watch documentaries. So something like an Oscar nomination goes a long way towards convincing people that documentaries aren't just you know, school lectures. They're movies and feel like movies and can have drama, excitement, and plot, and all those sorts of things.
What was the inspiration for this documentary? How long ago did you start working on it?
My wife was running a domestic violence organization in Brooklyn, and came home from work one day and told me, "You'll never guess what happened today. 4 federal agents walked into the office and arrested one of my employees, this guy Daniel McGowan, and he was charged with having taken part in 2 multi-million-dollar arsons of timber companies some years before, when he was part of a group called the Earth Liberation Front." So he was somebody who I'd met a few times before. He doesn't look like somebody who would be a radical environmentalist, or the government considered these arsons to be terrorism, and so he faced life in prison for them. And that he doesn't talk like that. He doesn't seem like that at all on the surface. So that was kind of what drove the movie, was this question of how could somebody like him, you know, he grew up in Queens, his dad's a cop, he was a business major in college, how could he face life in prison for something like this?
For someone who may not have seen the documentary, can you give me a brief synopsis of it?
Sure. So it part of the movie follows this guy's story from the time he was arrested until the time that he ultimately goes to prison. But most of the movie is kind of the backstory. So it looks at his personal coming-of-age story of how he got involved in environmentalism and became very radicalized, and how we also spend a lot of time with the arson victims and the police and the prosecutor. So there's a cops and robbers story in there too, of how they were able to crack the group and finally do this nationwide roundup of these folks.
How has making this movie changed your life or your perspective on things?
Well, on these issues, I mean, the movie's a little bit about activism, it's a little bit about environmentalism, it's a little bit about terrorism, since the government considered them to be terrorists, and so as we worked on the movie, you know, for 5 years, meeting new people, uncovering new bits of archival material, each time I think our points of view got stretched. So it wasn't as if I went from one flip to the other, but there was a kind of zigzagging of constantly pushing me out of my comfort zone. And so when we sat down to edit the film, we tried to build the same experience in, so that an audience at one moment might feel sympathetic to one character, and then the other moment feel sympathetic to that character's opponent. So I would say my point of view has been enlarged over the course of making it.
Did you expect the film to do this well when you were making it?
No. I mean, you can never expect something like this. It's always a surprise and a thrill. So you spend a lot of time making documentaries and putting them out into the world, and it's probably like having children and turning them loose. You don't expect them to become president, although you hope. You know, you love them and you hope, but you never know.
What's next for you?
I've just started a documentary about Lennox Lewis, the former boxing heavyweight champion. And I've also been working recently on the PBS broadcast of another film that I made around the same time as If a Tree Falls. It's called Racing Dreams. That's about 2 boys and a girl who are 11, 12, and 13 who want to become NASCAR drivers when they grow up. So they race go-karts that go 70 miles an hour in like the Little League for professional racing. So that's been requiring a lot of time, is just kind of preparing for the national PBS broadcast of that.
Where can we check out your work online?
Well, each project has its own website. So for If a Tree Falls, the URL is ifatreefallsfilm.com. For my first one, Street Fight, the one that was first nominated for an Academy Award, that one's called Street Fight Film, and Racing Dreams is Racing Dreams Film. And my name again is Marshall Curry. So if you go to marshallcurry.com, there's all kinds of information and links to all of those.
Thank you so much, Marshall, and congratulations on the nomination, and best of luck at the awards.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for TTN-HD Production Live.